Hello my dear children, welcome back to physics class. So you will be awaiting for today's class, right? So are you all ready to learn? Yes. Anirudh, are you there? Sri Lakshmi, what about you? Okay, fine. So I think all of you are ready to learn today's class. So listen, we were dealing with the chapter measurements and units. So നമ്മൾ ഇതുവരെ എന്തൊക്കെ മക്കളെ ഈ ചാപ്റ്ററിൽ പഠിച്ചത്? ലെങ്ത്തിനെ കുറിച്ച് പഠിച്ചു, മാസിനെ കുറിച്ച് പഠിച്ചു, ടൈമിനെ കുറിച്ച് പഠിച്ചു. സോ ലെങ്ത്, മാസ്, ടൈം ഇതൊക്കെ എന്താണെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞത്? മെഷർമെന്റ്സ്. These are all measurements. Or in physics, these are all known as physical quantities. Physical quantities. So, physicsile measurements ne parayunna perana physical quantities. And we can classify physical quantities into two. Let me repeat. We have learned about some measurements, that is length, mass, time, etc. So these are all known as physical quantities, and we can classify physical quantities into two. We can classify physical quantities into two. That is, the first one is fundamental quantities. Fundamental quantities. And the second category is derived quantities. Derived quantities. So we can classify physical quantities into two: fundamental quantities and derived quantities. So let me define fundamental quantities. Listen, there are some quantities which are not related to one another and cannot be expressed using other quantities. Once again, there are some quantities which are not related to one another and cannot be expressed using other quantities. So that is known as, or these kind of quantities are known as fundamental quantities. So what about derived quantities? Just opposite to this. There are some quantities which are related to one another and can be expressed using other quantities. So that's all about derived quantities. By hearing this definition, you might not understand the difference between fundamental quantities as well as derived quantities. So let me explain these through examples. See, suppose I am taking length. So this length is an independent quantity. Length is an independent quantity. That means length is not dependent on other quantity. Length is not dependent on other quantities. So what about length? It is a fundamental quantity. Since it is not depending on other quantities, it is a fundamental quantity and which comes under the category of fundamental quantities. So first example is length. Now let me take another example, that is area. How we will find area of a rectangle? Of course we know that area is equal to length into breadth. So this area is a derived quantity. Why? Because area is dependent on length as well as breadth. Area is dependent on length as well as breadth. So this area is a derived quantity. Recall the definition of derived quantities. There are some quantities which are related to other quantities. So here the area is related to length as well as breadth. So area is a derived quantity. So example for derived quantities, area. Now let me take another example, that is mass. What about mass? In our last class we have learned about mass. What is its definition? It is the quantity of matter present in a substance. And of course this mass is an independent quantity. So what about mass? It will come under the category of fundamental quantities. So mass is an example for fundamental quantities. Now another example, volume. What is the formula for volume? Length into breadth into height. So here the volume is dependent on length, breadth and height. So what about volume? Is it a fundamental quantity or derived quantity? Derived quantity. So volume is an example for derived quantity. Now another one, that is time. What about time? Is it related to some other quantities? No. Time is an independent quantity. So again it comes under the category of fundamental quantities. So here I write time. So time is an example for fundamental quantities. Okay. Now one more example, that is density. Density will be a new term for you. Anyway, we will learn about this density in detail. Actually it's a derived quantity. It's an example for derived quantity. So this later we will learn this. I am writing here density is a derived quantities. So what about the examples for fundamental quantities? Length, mass, time, etc. Derived quantities, area, volume, density, etc. So hope you might have understood this. So that's all about fundamental quantities and derived quantities. So fundamental quantities means these are the basic quantities. Basic quantities means which is independent, which is not dependent on other quantities. Derived quantities it is dependent on other quantities. Since there are two types of quantities, we have two types of units, fundamental units and derived units. Mithilesh, are you listening? There are two types of units. Already we have learned about two types of quantities. So there are two types of units, that is fundamental units and derived units. Fundamental units and derived units. Derived units. So what about fundamental units? Fundamental units are the units of fundamental quantities. So units of fundamental quantities are known as fundamental units. So what about derived units? Units of derived quantities are known as derived units, or units that can be expressed in terms of fundamental units. Units that can be expressed in terms of fundamental units are known as derived units. Later we will explain about this. Okay, so fundamental units and derived units. Now, what about the examples for fundamental units? Since fundamental units are the units of fundamental quantities, the examples for fundamental units will be the basic units of fundamental quantities such as length, mass, time, etc. So we are going to write examples. So what about the basic unit of length? Meter. Its symbol is M. So M is a fundamental unit, or meter is a fundamental unit. Now what about the unit of mass? What about the basic unit of mass? Kilogram. So kilogram is a fundamental unit. Now what about the unit of time? Basic unit? Second. So it is represented by S. So second. Here I have wrote symbols. Okay, here I have wrote symbols of basic units. So this is meter, this is kilogram, and this is second. So these are all fundamental units. Now what about derived units? Derived units are the units of derived quantities such as area, volume, density, etc. So that we will discuss later. Now you come back to this topic, fundamental units. So here we have taken the basic units. There is a system which is dependent on fundamental units. Listen, here we have taken the fundamental units or the basic units, right? So there is a system which is dependent on fundamental units, and that system of units, and that system is known as International System of Units. That system is known as International System of Units. International System of Units. So what about International System of Units? There is a system which is dependent on fundamental units, and that is known as International System of Units, or SI units. SI units. fundamental units, and this system is known as International System of Units or SI units. Okay, so in the case of derived units that we will discuss later. Now, here we have taken, or here we have brought some examples for fundamental quantities such as length, mass, time, etc. So there are some more examples for fundamental quantities. So that is there in your textbook. So let me take you through that.
This is the table, fundamental quantities and their SI units. Here we have 7 fundamental quantities. The first one is length. Second one is mass. Third one is time. Fourth one is electric current. Fifth one is temperature. Sixth one is amount of substance. And the last one is luminous intensity. Here, the last two fundamental quantities, that is amount of substance and luminous intensity, which will be new terms for you. Amount of substance is the quantity of substance, whereas luminous intensity means it is the measure of light produced by a source in a particular direction. Light producing source means, see for example, a bulb. So that's all about these two quantities, and we don't have much to learn on this. Now, come back to the first fundamental quantity, that is length. What about its SI unit? We know that the basic unit or the SI unit of length is meter. What about its symbol? M, small letter M. Now, the second one, mass. What is its basic unit? Kilogram. What about its symbol? kg. Now, third one, time. Its basic SI unit is second and symbol is small letter S. Now, the fourth one, electric current. Its basic SI unit is ampere. What about its symbol? Capital letter A. Now, next one, temperature. What about its unit? SI unit, Kelvin. And the symbol is capital letter K. Now the sixth one, amount of substance. What is its basic unit? Mole. And what about its symbol? MOL, mole. Now the seventh one, luminous intensity. And its basic SI unit is candela. And what about its symbol? CD, small letter CD. So that's all about fundamental quantities and their SI units.
Now, let me take you through the derived units once more. Derived units. So already we defined derived units. Derived units are the units of derived quantities or units which can be expressed in terms of fundamental units. That is known as derived units. So let me explain more about this. Suppose the length of our classroom is 5 meter. Length 5 meter and the breadth of our classroom is 4 meter. Just imagine that the length of our classroom is 5 meter and breadth is 4 meter. So in this case, what about the area, or what is the area of our classroom? So area is equal to, we know the formula, length into breadth, or L into D. Length into breadth. So in this case, what about the length of the classroom? 5 meter. So 5 meter into, what is breadth? 4 meter. 4 meter. So 5 into 4, 20. Now, what about meter into meter? See, in mathematics you have learned this. X into X is X square. Or 2 into 2 you will be writing like this, no? 2 square. So X into X, X square. Here, what about M into M? M square. That is meter square. So what about the area of the classroom? 20 meter square. Here, what about this area? It is a derived quantity. Area is a derived quantity and And what about this meter square? It is the unit of derived quantity. So this meter square is the derived unit. Meter square is the derived unit. And how we got this meter square? Meter into meter. That is, this meter is a fundamental unit. Here the meter is a fundamental unit. So derived units can be expressed in terms of fundamental units. So this is the definition of derived units. Hope you have understood this. Derived units are units which can be expressed in terms of fundamental units. So here area is a derived quantity and meter square is the derived unit. Now let's come back to fundamental units. There we have learned about the system which is based on fundamental units, and it is the International System of Units or SI units. Now we are going to discuss some of the features of SI units. Features of SI units. Features of SI units. So listen. The first feature of SI units is these are unified units. These are unified units. What do you mean by unified? Unified means one. There is only one SI unit. See, in the case of length, there is only one basic unit. In the case of length, there is only a basic unit, that is meter. Or in the case of mass, there is only a basic unit, that is kilogram. So unified means only one. In that meaning we are using. In that sense we are using. Now the second feature of SI units is internationally accepted units. Internationally accepted units. What do you mean by internationally accepted? Accepted all over the world. Wherever we move, we can use these units. Now the third feature, adequate to express all physical quantities. Adequate to express all physical quantities. Adequate to express all physical quantities means it is enough to express all physical quantities. Through this SI unit we can express all physical quantities. So these are the features of SI units. Unified units, internationally accepted units, adequate to express all physical quantities. So that's all about SI units. So we were discussing about fundamental quantities as well as derived quantities. And in the case of derived quantities, we came across an example, that is area. Area is a derived quantity. Suppose we are asked to calculate the area of a surface with irregular edges. Suppose we are asked to calculate the area of a surface with irregular edges. See, for example, if we are asked to calculate the area of this leaf, is there any method to find its area? Definitely yes, and we are going to find the area of this leaf. We are going to find the area of this leaf. For this, we need a graph paper. Before finding the area of this leaf, let me explain about this graph paper. Here in this graph paper, we can see large number of squares, and each square is with side 1 centimeter. That is, if I am taking a square, its side is 1 centimeter. So what about the area? Area of a square is side into side. So in this case, area is 1 centimeter into 1 centimeter, that is equal to 1 centimeter square. So the area of each squares. So the area is 1 centimeter square. Now to calculate the area of this leaf, first take the leaf and place it on the graph paper. Now trace the edges of the leaf very slowly using a pencil. Trace the edges of this leaf very slowly using a pencil. Yes. Here we got the shape of the leaf. Now, the area of this region will tell you the area of this leaf. The area of this region will tell you the area of this leaf. Now, to calculate the area of this region, let's count the number of complete squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 and 19. Here one more square is there, so 20. So how many complete squares are there? 20. Number of complete squares. Let it be A. So that is equal to 20. ഇനി എത്ര സ്ക്വയേഴ്സിന്റെ ഹാഫ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ മോർ ദാൻ ഹാഫ് ആണ് ഈ റീജിയനിൽ വന്നിരിക്കുന്നത്? എത്ര സ്ക്വയേഴ്സിന്റെ ഹാഫ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ മോർ ദാൻ ഹാഫ് ഈ റീജിയനിൽ വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്? Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So, number of squares having half or more than half. Half or more than half. That is equal to, let it be B, and that is equal to 9. Now, what is the total number of squares? Total number of squares. That is equal to A plus B. 20 plus 9. So total 29 squares. Now, area of a square is 1 centimeter square, and here we are having 29 such squares. So what about its area? 29 into 1 centimeter square. So here we have the area of leaf is equal to, let me repeat, a square is having area 1 centimeter square, and here we have 29 such squares. So what about the total area? 29 into 1 centimeter square, that is equal to 29 centimeter square. So what is the approximate area of this leaf? 29 centimeter square. So in this way we can find the area of this leaf. Let's have a look at this. So children, that's all for today. Today we learned about fundamental quantities and derived quantities, also fundamental units and derived units. So it is an important topic, so make a point to revise this. Then we calculated the area of a leaf, and hope you might have understood all these points. So in the next class we will come with a new topic. So till then, bye.